Your toothpaste is probably toxic. In fact, 90% of 51 analyzed toothpaste brands came back tested positive for detectable lead. 90% have lead. 65% of the brands have arsenic. 47% of the toothpaste tested had mercury, and 35% tested had cadmium. So these toothpaste you're using are loaded with heavy metals, and we're not talking like a rock band. You know, it might have your head banging, but not the way you want it to. My friends, you put this in your kids' hands and they brush their teeth with it, and it's especially bad for kids. And furthermore, there are other chemicals in these toothpaste beside for heavy metals. There's P-bands, phthalates, and all kinds of other nasty stuff that you can find in your toothpaste, what you brush your teeth with every morning, every night, and give your kids. Now, do you think this is wise? I think not. What we're going to do here is we're going to look at some of these toothpaste. We're going to look at some of the data. We'll talk about some of the health effects. And we're going to go even further and talk a little bit about some of the other chemicals you got to watch for. Generally, 5 key chemicals you got to watch for in just everyday consumer brands. So here it is. There's several articles out on this. This is in Money Talks, and it's talking about product testing. Many popular brands pose risk to your health, tainted with toxic lead, just one of many heavy metals. And here again, 90% tested have heavy metals, 65% arsenic. You think arsenic's good for you? No. Mercury. How about mercury? You've ever heard of a Mad Hatter? Well, that's where that came from. Cadmium. So we're talking about just regular toothpaste like Crest, and several other brands. Colgate Total Whitening. We'll go look at these brands. I'm going to show you a sample of some of these contaminated brands in a little bit. Like I said, and we'll also talk about the 5 general chemicals you got to look for. So, new reports suggest we all may be brushing our teeth with lead and other toxic metals. And this is in Gizmodo. So you'll find these articles in different places. 100, and some of them have up to and exceed 10,000 parts per billion. And that is way above where the standards are, where they should be. We're talking heavy lead. So, guys, this is not what your kids need. We took it out of gas. We took it out of paint. But now you're putting it inside your mouth in your toothpaste, of all things. I've warned you guys before that the consumer product, food in the United States is not well regulated in terms of containment. They allow all kind of stuff in our food that the Europeans don't allow, but they do regulate food better than consumer products. And this is part of the consumer product stuff that just hasn't been regulated the way it should. Toothpaste widely contains lead and other metals. So we see this coming out in several reports. This is in U.S. News. No, this is in the Guardian. This is their U.S. News section. So most of 51 brands tested for lead contains dangerous levels of heavy metal. So look, this contains dangerous levels of heavy metal, including those for children, marketed as green, mercury, cadmium. So this consumer company called Lead Safe Mama had a lot of these tests done. So guys, this is something that is beyond the pale. Among those found to contain toxins were Crest, Sensodyne, Tom's of Maine, Dr. Bronner's, David's, Dr. Jen. I'm going to show you these brands a little bit. Just hang on. I'm going to show you this, the Procter & Gamble products on FDA to not immediately respond because this is not in their wheelhouse. So that's what I've been warning you guys. Here's some other toxic stuff. Ingredients added included, and if you can't pronounce it, you don't need it. I bet it's not even on the list. Hydroxyphytate, I don't know how you say that, calcium carbonate, and bentonite clay. Wow, bentonite clay, that's probably not as bad. But this stuff is extracted from cow bone and added because it allegedly helps teeth to absorb calcium. Yikes. Maybe that's in your whiteners, the stuff that's supposed to whiten your teeth. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Wow, guys. So, yeah, before we get into me showing you the chemicals and the five other things, I just want to mention this. When it comes to all these consumer products, you think you're getting choices of all these brands, and all these brands started out being branded as brands that brought you healthy, good consumer products, but they've been bought up. We got over 550 consumer brands bought up and now controlled by some just a dozen companies here. See this? A dozen companies control over 550 other brands. And you can bet when they acquired these companies changed their ingredients to be cost effective according to what our mama company says do. And the situation is even worse than that because even those 12 companies are controlled principally by these three asset management companies. They have controlling stocks in most of those companies, and particularly the largest of which is BlackRock. And when you are controlled by these companies, they further drill down on that efficiency. And you're voting for that philosophy. You will have no privacy, you will own nothing, and you will be happy according to these sources. That's what they're trying to put you in the permanent renter category. So when you're voting for your dollar, buying this stuff, you're promoting stuff that you really don't want to have no part of. It's not only putting poison in your mouth, literally poison in your mouth, but taking money out of your pocket to take your freedoms away from you. That's what they're doing there. So, guys, I highly encourage you considering switching away from buying products like that. I have an alternative for you here. Go to switchwithgreg.com and fill out this form and submit it. And this don't go anywhere but to me, and I got a helper that helps me out with this, and she's really good. She can walk you through this, but guys, it gets you beyond this illusion. The choice of these products, you get to go to a family-owned company here in the United States that supports American jobs. It's made in America and non-toxic ingredients. Their ingredients are plant-based, including in their cleaners, and their cleaners are working better than these caustic chemical cleaners you get from the other companies, from these guys today. So this gives you a choice to have non-toxic products, including toothpaste and many others, lotions, soaps, shampoos. Let's go into it and look at this. Again, switchwithgreg.com. This is levels of lead. It's 5 parts per billion and up, so it gets more intense as we get into it. You find Radius Organic Toothpaste, Riswell Kids Mineral Toothpaste. Yeah, kids toothpaste. Got lead at 26 parts per billion. It's got cadmium, and it's got arsenic in this kids toothpaste. Can you believe it? Boco Nano Hydroxylphate toothpaste. That must be the cow bone whitening stuff, right? Orange cream. Oh, it sounds so good. It's flavored. It's orange. Yeah, that's coconut banana up here. And cake batter in the kids. Oh my gosh. Really tempting, really tempting flavors, right? Got a mint one here. This is not for kids, but it's got 32 parts per billion of lead. We got no amount is good. We got some bubblegum berry blast toothpaste. Now that sounds like some Knobs Jr. Bubblegum berry blast toothpaste. Yeah, we got a lot of brands that we're going to cover here. So I'm just showing you some examples. Then this, there could be other brands out there that's got this stuff in them, mind you. So we got that bubble gum. Let's look at that one. Yeah, lead, cadmium, and arsenic. Yikes! And then we got Truvani clean toothpaste. Well, how clean is it? It's got lead. It's got the cadmium. It's got mercury and arsenic. Yeah, boy, that's real clean, isn't it? Boda Grow Naturally Baby Toothpaste. Now, that's in Israel. Yeah, it's got lead, pretty good bit of lead in it. Dr. Bright's Kids Mineral Toothpaste. Look at that, Dr. Bright's Kids Mineral Toothpaste. It's got lead, cadmium, mercury, and arsenic. And then this is showing how feed your kids Good Guys toothpaste. Feed your Good Guys toothpaste. Yeah, it's got lead and arsenic too. And then see the contaminant level goes up as I go down this list. So those are some off brands you may not have heard of that's being sold to you as good, healthy toothpaste. Oral gel. Everybody's heard of oral gel. Kids anti-cavity toothpaste. Paw Patrol. Oh, don't that sound safe? It's a fruity bubble. It's got 100.1 parts per billion of lead. It's got 12 parts per billion of mercury. Boy, don't you want to put mercury in your kids' mouth? Paw Patrol, uh, and we got a Bactogro Naturally Kids Anti-Cavity Toothpaste. That's another one from Israel. It's got a lot of lead in it here at 112 parts per billion. Sensodyne, extra whitening toothpaste. You would think something like Sensodyne would really be sensitive to what they're putting in their toothpaste because it's supposed to be good for your gums, right? Oh, well, think again. It's got 116 parts per billion of lead and 16 of arsenic. And Jack and Jill toothpaste. Boy, that's really a kid's toothpaste. That's in Australia. 120 parts per billion of lead. Then you got Crest Advanced Color and Changing Toothpaste, 132 parts per billion lead and 10.1 parts per billion of arsenic. Dr. Bronner's toothpaste. That's supposed to be one of those good, clean brands, right? 160 parts per billion of lead and 23 parts per billion of arsenic, but it's got 6 parts per billion of mercury. So, and it gets worse. Dr. Jen's toothpaste for kids, 200 parts per billion of lead, 9 parts per billion of cadmium, 6 parts per billion of mercury, and 60 parts per billion per arsenic. Yeah, it starts adding up. And they got some others that are going to be adding here later. They're pinning, I guess they're still doing tests on. Tom's of Maine, kids, natural kids, natural toothpaste. That sounds real good. You'd think, yeah, we can use that. 240 parts per billion of lead, 40 parts per billion of arsenic. And then we get into, you're thinking like Himalayan salts. Anything with Himalayan has got to be pure pristine, right? Think again. Himalaya Boutique Kids toothpaste. 258 parts per billion. No, excuse me, 243 parts per billion of lead, 25 parts per billion of cadmium, and it's got 40 parts per million of arsenic. And then the list goes down here, guys. Colgate, so you got wellness, children's toothpaste. Wellness, let's get that. And it's strawberry wellness children's toothpaste, 273 parts per billion of lead, 8 parts per billion of, remember, we're going to go talk about other consumer products here in a minute, 5 chemicals to watch out for, 80 parts per billion of cadmium, and 133 parts per billion of mercury. Wow, just what you want to use for kids' wellness. Then we got Happy Tooth Kids Premium Tooth. Oh, it's kids' toothpaste. 283.7 parts per billion of lead, 14.5 parts per billion of cadmium, 7.5 parts per billion of mercury, and 24.4 parts per billion of arsenic. That is nasty stuff. But it's happy. Yeah, Happy Tooth Kids Premium Natural Toothpaste. Oh, it comes in the flavor of vanilla frosting. Oh my gosh, guys. Then we get into Colgate Water Burst Toothpaste for kids. It's a new one. It's got 302 parts per billion of lead, 6.9 parts per billion of mercury. Then we got the Redivin Prebiotic Toothpaste. Guys, it just goes up. It's got all the contaminants. It's got 307.7 parts per billion of lead, 53 parts per billion of cadmium, 12.6 parts per billion of mercury, and 125.4 parts per billion of arsenic. Man, that just gives you the whole repertoire there. Some of these they've got their mouths in, but they're not publishing the company's name, maybe because they got a pending, they got to put it out there. I don't know what the deal is with that. But anyway, Crest regular toothpaste. Now, you see, the more regular brands are higher. The stuff you most find on grocery shelves is what's in the bottom of this list. And it's the worst. Crest regular toothpaste. Yeah, it comes with 399 parts per billion of lead, 6 parts per billion of mercury, and 6 parts per billion of arsenic. Did you know you were putting lead, arsenic, and mercury in your mouth with this stuff? And then we got Now Solutions Xylo White Toothpaste Gel, 421 parts per billion of lead, 9 parts per billion of mercury, 12 parts per billion of arsenic. And then you go down to Hello Dragon Dazzle Toothpaste in blue raspberry. Yeah, being sold to kids. Blue raspberry sounds yummy, right? Mmm. Especially Dragon Dazzle. Ooh, yeah. Hello, Dragon Dazzle. This is definitely marketed to kids. 428 parts per billion of lead, 11.8 parts per billion of mercury. Then we got David's Premium. Oh, yeah, premium toothpaste. Ooh-wee. 475 parts per billion of lead. And it's got 202 parts per billion of arsenic. Boy, just what you want to give your kids. Premium toothpaste. Jason's Kids Only toothpaste. Wow. Strawberry. Uh-huh. 477.8 parts per billion of lead. Guys, 8.1 parts per billion of mercury. Boy, just what you should be giving your kids. Oh, my goodness. No, not. I'm talking facetiously here. Hello, fluoride-free toothpaste. Oh, this must be good stuff. It's Hello, and it's fluoride-free. It must be good. And it's in fresh watermelon to tempt the kids to use it. Uh-huh. 493 parts per billion of lead, 19 parts per billion of mercury, and 6 parts per billion of arsenic. You see where we're going here, guys? Colgate Total Whitening Toothpaste. Now, see, that's up there with Crest. This is one of your regular, everyday toothpaste. This is a mint flavor here. Oh, yeah. So this is for the adults. Yeah. 539 parts per billion of lead. 10.4 parts per billion of mercury. Spry Kids Gel Toothpaste. Anti-cavity. Must be good for them, right? Well, until you consider 568.1 parts per billion of lead, 14.6 parts per billion of mercury, and 28.5 parts per billion of arsenic. And then it gets crazy. They get really loaded. Just Ingredients Tooth Powder, fresh citrus, also for kids. It's got 593 parts per billion of lead. It's got 267 parts per billion of cadmium and 1,500 parts per billion of arsenic. Arsenic's bioaccumulative, as is a lot of these other heavy metals. They stay in your tissues and it builds up over time and it gets worse and worse. Get this, Redmond Earth Paste. Oh, don't that sound healthy? Redmond Earth Paste, natural powder. Natural toothpaste. Not powder. Powder's below. Redmond Earth Paste, natural toothpaste with silver. Now, silver is supposed to kill bacteria, right? Well, a lemon twist. 3,500 parts per billion of lead. 31 parts per billion of cadmium. And get this, 2,700 parts per billion of arsenic. Oh, yeah, Earth Paste, natural. Van Man's Miracle Tooth Powder. This is miracle stuff. Oh, yeah, a mint bone flavor, I guess. Get this, get a load of this. 4,258.4 parts per billion of lead. 48.6 parts per billion of cadmium. Calcium would be good, but not cadmium. 8.5 parts per billion of mercury and 5,820.9 parts per billion of arsenic. Whoo, nasty stuff. Then we got Primal Life Dirty Mouth Kids Tooth Powder. Oh, this is Primal Life. This is good for your life. Primal Life Dirty Mouth. Clean up that dirty mouth. Kids tooth powder. Definitely marketed to kids. Now get a load of this. Hope you guys are not giving this stuff to your kids. 7,008 parts per billion of lead. 82 parts per billion of cadmium. Mercury, it says non-detectable, but it's like 63 something. I don't know. So it's the arsenic is 5,500 parts per billion. Boy, that's not what you ought to be putting in your kid's mouth, dirty or not. I mean, guys, this stuff is heinous. It is just heinous what they allow in products. I've been telling you guys they allow all kind of stuff in products. And this is a scientific report, a paper published on this. Well, this is based on a paper. It's got kind of a movie in front of it. But it's just talking about sufficient intake of lead, cadmium, mercury and arsenic has the potential to elicit adverse health effects. You think maybe this has something to do with the drop in IQ in our subsequent generation? You realize the younger generation has much lower IQ. Maybe it's because of the heavy metals that we're putting in them and all the other additives, chemicals they've been exposed to the time they're in the womb to the time their toddlers running around brushing their teeth. Human exposure to lead, cadmium, mercury, and arsenic has been reported to cause several adverse health effects under certain circumstances. Yeah, under a lot of circumstances. So, as reviewed by Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry, exposure to lead, particularly in children, was associated with several adverse effects, including neurological, renal, cardiovascular, hematological, immunological, for your immune system, reproductive, and developmental effects. So it goes on and on in here, talking about mercury for the neurological and renal effects. Consistently reported that all forms of mercury and epidemiological and animal studies. So it goes on and on in here about a lot of this stuff. Oh, look here. However, in children, there are also some evidence of lower IQ scores due to chronic exposure to inorganic arsenic. Well, arsenic isn't only going to hit your brains, mercury will, and so will lead. Holy walking smoke a moly. And they want you to brush your kids' teeth with this stuff. What a heinous thing. So it just goes on and on here, guys. This whole thing is just chock full of this stuff. Toothpaste ingestion by children and adults has been documented in scientific literature. A systematic review of the meta-analysis conducted, let's skip on down here, talking about, for example, toothpaste ingestion by children were reported at 27.6% and 35.5% of the amount applied. So they managed to swallow some of this. It gets in their saliva. They don't spit it all out and wash their mouth out good. So there you are, my friends. This is not good by any way you want to slice it. So this report goes on and on and on here. By blood and levels, arsenic dietary intake. It just goes on and on in this report, talking about the ill effects to your health that can be caused by ingestion of these chemicals. But that's not the only ones. I promised you I was going to show you the 5 ingredients to watch out for in beauty and personal care products. And I might do another video just on this. But, you know, we got a lot of things to take into consideration here. Be they, let's see here. We got the, I thought it was summed up here. All right, we'll just go down to them. We'll take them one by one. Phthalates can be found in personal care products, especially those with added fragrance, shampoos, conditioners, body wash. Remember how popular body washes became instead of soap? There's more chemicals, my friends, usually. Although you go to switchgreg.com, you can find body wash that does not have these in them. Lotions, deodorants, perfume, makeup, nail polish. And they got different labels for this stuff. Paraffin, perfume, aroma. Best choices go fragrance-free, but you've got other chemicals in there too. Parabens can be found in products with high water content, such as shampoo. See, shampoo's got a lot of stuff in it. Moisturizers, shaving gel, and toothpaste. So that test I was showing you talked about heavy metals. They didn't talk about other chemicals like parabens, phthalates, formaldehyde-releasing preservatives. So you got preservatives in shampoo, conditioner, moisturizer. I've used shampoo in the past, and when it got mixed with some soap, I smelled the formaldehyde, and it was really strong. It's like, what the heck? Makeup, hair straightener products, hair gel, nail polish, nail glue, eyelash glue. You'll find a lot of this stuff in lotions, a lot of these things too. PFAS can be found in products with claims of being waterproof, smudge-proof, and long-lasting, such as makeup. How many of you ladies using this makeup, mascara, foundation, lipstick, and hair care products? Some of you guys may be. Oh, well. Anyway, get away from that stuff, guys. May be labeled as PTFE, polytetrafluoroethylene, or Teflon. Some ingredients with flora in the name, so they don't even label the ingredients the same way. Of course, you find this stuff in cookware, food packaging, Yeah, if you're buying bottled water, them little bitty plastic bottles, milk, clothing, dental floss. You thought the dental floss is good for you, and more. So, guys, it just goes on and on and on. So, here it is. A December 2025 FDA report carried out as part of the MOCRE requirement found that 51 different PFAS intentionally added, that don't make sense, to 1,744 cosmetics. I'm about to get into this PDF later. So you're finding this stuff in tons of cosmetics. Then you got coal tar dyes, permanent hair dyes, color cosmetics, lipsticks, eyeshadow, nail polish. Eli's nail polish is just loaded with stuff. What about how about carcinogen contaminants like lead and benzene? So they talk about that here, found in all kind of permitted ingredients. Oh yeah, they even talk about asbestos here: benzene, mercury, asbestos, lead. Ooh, nasty, nasty stuff, and tons of consumer products. Shop carefully is the first advice. Shop carefully. I'll tell you how to stay away from that. Shop carefully. Go to switchwithgreg.com. Fill out the form. Hit enter. We'll get back with you. So that's enough of that. So the bottom line, I've been saying for some time that the stuff you're buying off the store shelves is not good for you. They don't care. These big companies have found it's cheaper to settle lawsuits when they come up than it is to actually provide you good, clean products. That's why you don't get it here in the United States. The stuff you get in Europe's a little better. But my friends, you still find a lot of this stuff in consumer products worldwide. So watch out. Most of the stuff that Europe regulations are on is food products. And we don't even have that here. The other consumer products, which you use from day to day, they ain't covered. They're just not there. So, my friends, really consider this. Think about what you're putting in your body, on your body, in your mouth, even if you're swallowing or not. And the best way to get away from that and not support those big companies that are supporting the House of Klaus, if you know what I'm talking about, which is now the stink of fink. If you watch my other videos, you know what I'm talking about. But, my friends, these are things you don't want to put your money into if you can avoid it. So I highly encourage you to go to switchwithgreg.com to get away from all this nastiness. So help your family. Or do you want to keep putting poison in your family's mouth? I'd highly encourage you not to. And the solutions can be found at switchwithgreg.com. So I want to thank y'all all for watching. Please share my videos. And with that, I say, Greg out.